Hello, this is Scotty McCoy. I am the author of the Ultimate Friday the 13th Trivia book, and I am about to be doing another book titled The Ultimate Slasher Movie Encyclopedia, and I am interviewing the cast from the Friday the 13th franchise, and currently I have Tiffany Helm, who played Violet in Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. Hi, Tiffany. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Scotty?
I'm doing great.
Excellent.
So I have about 15 questions I'm going to be asking you. Little more than I usually do, but you're just so interesting to think of questions about. I couldn't just stop at 10. So.
Okay. Now, do the listeners know that the sound quality is not too good on my end?
Yes. The interview is going to be going into my book, so I'm recording it for like a little 5-minute demo.
Okay.
So it's not going to be like the full interview will not be going into the actual, like, won't be getting sold or anything. Just like a little promotional thing.
Okay.
Right.
Sure.
So the first question I have is, what was your audition like for Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning?
The audition was, the breakdown went out, they were looking for a Pat Benatar type character. Because at the time, that was really all Hollywood saw as punk rock. And we all know that Pat Benatar was not punk rock, but she had that, like, Love is a Battlefield video, and, like, that was Hollywood's perception of what the alternative scene was about. So that's how the breakdown went out. And I was a little bit overweight at the time, and I had, I was always doing my hair different colors and stuff. My agent, like the fringy roles there weren't a whole lot of them. And even though I didn't physically, they wanted a hard body Pat Benatar type, is what they were specifically asking, because in the death scene she was supposed to be doing aerobics. But my agent sent me in, and whatever it was, the look or I think that I was authentic, right?
Yeah.
And that's actually, I booked a few jobs that way because I was authentic. And they would see me and they're like, whoa, that's the real deal. So, I think that was it. I mean, I don't remember the specifics about the reading, but it was called The Repetition at the time. It wasn't a Friday the 13th. Just a low-budget slasher movie, and they wanted this hard-body Pat Benatar person, and I was not that. But
right.
Sometimes it works for you.
Yeah, definitely. So how was it like when you found out it was a Friday the 13th film? What was it like to find that information out?
Well, and most of the talent, I think, was we weren't really happy about it because we all knew how much the franchise had made. And they were paying actors what is called favored nations, where everybody basically makes just a bit above scale. So there was no negotiation, right? It was like, that's what you're making. And I mean, we've all done very well off of the film, and I mean, I still like residuals for just a few bucks dripped in the mail still to this day, and the fan base that it's generated, at horror cons and stuff like that. I mean, it's a very lucrative franchise, so it's fine. In hindsight, I'm like, it wasn't a big deal, but it was at the time. We felt a little duped because they're like, we didn't know it was a Friday the 13th, and I think they probably had to do a lot of improvisation in the audition because they couldn't give away, well, this killer is wearing a hockey mask, and then we'd be like, connect the dots.
Yeah.
So
I think that
was it.
Right. So everyone remembers Violet for her robot dance to the song In Her Eyes. What inspired that scene? Because I personally love that song, as I thought it was a great film, and it symbolized like Jason. So and also who was the idea? Was it to use that song?
Well, the original, and I don't know how much information you have about, because I mean I've told the story several times, so I guess it's pretty common knowledge. But the original scene was I was that hard body Pat Benatar person. Playing, little scissors with my legs in my room doing exercises, and he comes in and splits me up the middle with his machete.
Right.
And when makeup did up the aftermath of that scene, they were like, yeah, it's not going to get past the censors. Okay, that looks really, really gnarly. So we need to rewrite this scene.
Right.
And so they're like, okay, so maybe you're dancing in your room. I'm like, okay. So they started like, we're kind of blocking the scene and seeing how it was gonna work. And I'm like, I did like this, what I thought they wanted, this kind of weird white girl dance from just like, very not coordinated. And that's not what I was doing in clubs. What I was doing in clubs was that weird, well, I heard a guy at one of the horror cons called it like synth pop style, synth pop robot, where it's not really robot, it's not really pop locking. It was more like what the new wave into the goth kids were doing.
Right.
So first I tried and you can even see it in the beginning of the scene where I'm kind of just like swaying, and I wasn't very comfortable doing that. So I don't even know how it came about, but I was like, this is what we're doing in clubs, and they loved it. They're like, yeah, go for it. And the songs, I always was listening to music, and most of the music that I was listening to, they wouldn't be able to get the rights to. But that His Eyes song from Pseudo Echo, they were this obscure Australian band, and they loved the song and got the rights to it. But that was my music, that was my dance. I decorated most of my room. I actually wanted to die against the picture of Sid Vicious. But they said,
the wrestler, right?
What?
The wrestler?
Sid Vicious?
Yeah.
The wrestler.
There's a wrestler named Sid Vicious. I can't remember what the picture looked like.
Sex Pistols. No.
Oh, okay.
That's right. You're a young boy.
Yep.
Sex Pistols.
Okay.
Sid, who died of a heroin overdose many years ago. Movie Sid and Nancy. It's about his life.
Okay.
Anyway, I thought it'd be poetic to die against Sid Vicious, but they said that I couldn't because of his estate.
Okay.
So, other than that, I basically had free reign on that set. I could pretty much do what I wanted, and it worked.
That's pretty cool. I remember talking to Bob DeSimone a couple days ago, and he said that he had a lot of freedom on the set. He said it seemed like Danny Steinman let the cast, and Deborah Voorhees said the same thing. They let the cast have a lot of freedom with their scenes.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's great. It's, I got to work with Robert Iman too, and similar style. Like, they're basically like, we cast you because we think you're the best for this part, and our job is done.
Right.
So now it's up to you to bring this to life, and with the exception of like certain nuances like blocking and stuff like that, they really kind of let us run with it. And if we had anything creative to bring to the table, then go for it.
Definitely. So, how was it like filming your death scene? And the second part of that question you kind of answered. I basically said, was there an alternate death that was cut from the film? Because I do know there was. That's why I thought I'd ask it. But what was it like filming your death scene? How did they do the makeup, the prosthetics? How was it? Just basically tell us in detail what it was like.
It was, it's like, I think, I look at it now, and I think about my experience as an actress, and some of the stuff that's out there on TV and film now, and how incredibly authentic and real the experience is when people are getting killed. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I look at my scene, I'm like, wow, I could have really done that a lot better,
Right.
But it's as an actor, like, what frame of reference do you have, right? You haven't died,
right?
So you can't be like, oh yeah, that time I died, I'll just like recall that. You can, I guess, like now there's so much stuff on video, you can watch it and really understand what the body goes through when you're getting choked to death or something.
Right.
So I felt I could probably have done it better. I think it was a really late night. I think we were on overtime then, because again, with the rewriting of the scene. But it was, it's an artificial environment. There's lights and camera, and where I'm supposed to be alone in my room dancing, it's like there's a camera there and there's big lights and it's hot and but I don't know, it's an odd question. It was like any other scene, but it's kind of it's more fun because it's like it's what it's all leading up to, right?
Right. And everybody said that the best. Everybody said the best scene filming is always the death scene. Everybody says it's the most fun. It's the type that basically everybody that's watching the film is going to look forward to because they know you're going to get it, and you're trying to basically make it your best. Make it look the best you can because everybody's saying, well, Violet's going to die, or Robin's going to die, or Jake's. They're all going to die. How are they going to die? And it's like that ultimate finale for that character.
Yeah.
So, how did you prep to get into the mindset of the character Violet?
There really wasn't. I mean, there wasn't much to do. I mean, it's, the look I had kind of dictated how I was. And, I mean, if you think about the situation of these kids being in a halfway house, I mean, obviously I've got some issues, right? what brought me to that halfway house. And, I think that Violet had gone through some pretty wicked stuff probably when she was even younger. And I thought about like the death scene, when they're out there and who is it, Joey gets killed.
Yeah. By Vic, yeah.
And I'm just kind of listening to music and rocking. Like I'm not like freaking out or crying or anything. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of used that. I mean, it just everything about her came very natural to me. Kind of. I had been, just as a person, people thought that I was aloof or I didn't like them or snotty, and it really wasn't like that. It's because I'm kind of introverted and awkward, right? And people take that for something else, and I think Violet was, that's it. So it's like when like I said, I was sorry. It's like it comes out really bitchy, but she's just like she felt like, oh my God, I'm setting this place for this dead person. Like, how embarrassing is that? And I got called on it,
right. Yeah.
So, she wasn't that far from me.
So you basically were playing yourself in a way.
Yeah, an extension of myself, right?
Yeah. That sounds pretty cool, though, to, like, have that, basically, that you have the already part of the character nailed down because you already have a piece of that character in you. So that makes it pretty fun.
And I think that's what acting's all about. Yeah. And whatever the part is, you can find that facet of yourself as a human being and tap into it. Like we all have like somebody playing, like I'm sure you've heard if you've been interviewed other actors, like playing a bad guy is the most fun.
Yeah.
Because you really get to like, in our society, it's not like looked nicely upon for you to be nasty.
Yes.
So if you actually take those parts of you, because we all have it in us, and really like let it run loose, it's like, yeah, it's in charge, right?
Yep.
So we all have, like every character that's played, we all have the facets of that.
Right. So speaking of acting, how did you get your start in acting?
My mom and dad. My mom and dad are both, and my aunt. Yeah. Everybody acted.
Right.
And I was in theater in high school and really, really enjoyed it. But I decided I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to get stuck in this profession and be going out for auditions when I was really old. And, so I just started out modeling because I knew that was a short-lived career, right?
Yeah.
Like, it washed up in 1986.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I'll do that. And I had odd looks and stuff. This was before I was coloring my hair and such. But I wasn't your typical like model material. So this agency, like they sent me to a commercial agency, and I started booking commercials. And my commercial agent actually then started sending me in for film stuff, which they didn't normally do. And they're like, I think you've got a shot at this, and it kind of just snowballed into that. And I was very fortunate that I got a few really nice jobs right off the bat that got me kind of sucked into the whole industry.
Right. So, how did you find out about the film so you can audition for the role? And you already answered the second part of that question, which was like, what did you find? What was your initial reaction when it was a Friday the 13th film? But like, so, go ahead.
It just came in through my agent.
Just your agent?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same today where breakdowns get sent out to all the agencies,
Okay.
and they see, what comes out, and if they have any clients that are right for roles, and then they submit the photo resumes to the casting directors, and either they're like yes or no or whatever,
Okay.
and then they call you in.
So, were you close friends with any of your co-stars when filming, and if so, who?
Yeah, Juliet and I were super close. We hung out, after shooting, we'd drive in together. We were really good friends on the set. I always get along very well with makeup and wardrobe people. Always. So, I was close with them too, but Juliet mainly. And Juliet and I had actually gone to the same school together.
Nice.
Several years before, so we already had a pass together.
Right. So, do you still keep in touch with her?
Not much. I've spoken with her just randomly, just a couple of times in the past few years. With social media, it's definitely easier to get in touch with people. But yeah, we've talked a few times. We just haven't really reconnected or anything like that.
Right, because I think I seen her Facebook. I don't know if I messaged her or not. Because I was reaching out to people that aren't on my friends list for an interview as well, and I think she was one of them on my list that I wanted to interview too.
Yeah, she's a super cool lady. So hopefully
that'd be nice.
Hold of her, yeah.
Yep. So, what was the best part of filming Friday the 13th Part 5: A New Beginning, and also what was the worst?
Best. Well, I guess, working in the industry is almost always good. It's a great job. It's great work if you can get it.
Right.
I really liked everybody that I worked with. There were I really don't recall any issues with working there. I remember just a few times getting a little irritated working overtime, and again, I kind of look back on that and I'm like, oh, freaking boo-hoo, right? Suck it up, buttercup. But at the time, I was young and overtime, I'm tired, I want to go home.
Right.
But it's, there were a few late nights there, but it was a lot of fun. It's a great gig.
Right.
And that's it. Worst part, that's really it. Long days. And It's a lot of, hurry up and wait. They want you in early to get into hair and makeup, and then you sit around for hours and hours and hours before your scene comes up, right? And there are worse ways to spend a day.
That's true too.
Yeah. So again,
So if you could do another Friday the 13th film, but as a different character, would you?
Oh, for sure. Definitely. There had been talk about bringing a bunch of Friday people back to do cameos in the latest one that they did.
Okay.
And I think that still might be on the table. There's quite a few people from the franchise who totally want to do that. I'd be up for it for sure.
Right. Did they get in touch with you at all?
Yeah.
That would be great though if you could. That would be absolutely amazing.
It'd be fun, right?
It would be.
The fans, it's got such an amazing fan base, and they would just be just to have a bar scene or something where you have all the old.
All the Friday victims that were already killed by Jason in the bar as extras type of role.
Exactly.
That would be so symbolic and ironic.
It would be like a nudge, nudge, wink, wink to all the followers, right?
Right. The best part about that would be having Jason actually killing a lot of them in the bar. A double kill, they're already victims. That would be great. I did hear rumors though that they wanted a lot, all the at least the first 8 from like the original. Well, they can't do the original because Alice obviously died in part 2. But like from part 2 up to part 8, they wanted to have like the final girls return, all the battle Jason, and all of them would get killed except there would be like this one of the final girls would be the one to kill him for good for the 13th of the film of the Friday the 13th franchise.
Oh, well, that'd be interesting.
That would be interesting. I heard rumors about that, but I think somebody wrote a script about it. I didn't hear if they're going through with it. I also heard about Jason killing in the snow for the first time.
Killing what?
Like in the snow.
Oh, okay.
Because it's always at summer camp, so like maybe like a winter camp. That'd be pretty cool too.
Yeah.
It'd be unique. A lot of different kills, like impaling somebody with a ski.
Right, and it would look so much more interesting on the snow.
Exactly, that'd be so interesting. I would love that. So, can you please explain what it was like filming Friday the 13th Part 5: A New Beginning? Because every fan's dream is to be in a Friday the 13th. So, you were in a Friday the 13th. So, what was that experience like?
Well, it's difficult too, and I get asked questions similar to this, and it's always a little difficult because while I consider myself somewhat of a horror fan, even though I'm more just like an ex-goth kid who just likes kind of dark, weird, creepy stuff. I'm not really into slasher films. Like I like horror. Like I like scary. I'm not like. I just watched that show Preacher the other night, and I was like, whoa, that's a little over the top for me. But I digress. So when I try and it's different. Like if you're an actor, this is a job. This is what you do, right? And there's no like, oh wow, this is so cool. It's a Friday the 13th franchise, and it's just like. I mean, it's not to belittle what it is, because it's, like I said, it's the best job in the world, but there isn't, it wasn't like my favorite franchise. Like right now, like I love the show Fargo, right? It's actually shot out here, so I'm like, oh, I would love to do an episode of Fargo, right? Right. So I think maybe something like that maybe equates to more what you're asking. Right. Because for me, it was a job. It was, and it was the 5th, in the series. Right. So it's like, well, how well is this gonna do, right? I mean, it's like the first one for sure, right? That was amazing. And then they just started kind of like.
Yep, I agree.
And
the thing is, a lot of the cast that I interviewed, a majority of them, I think all of them, with the exception of Deborah Voorhees, because she loves horror and slasher movies, but like Stu Charno and like all of them that I interviewed, they all said it wasn't that I didn't love the filming it and I didn't love the franchise. It's just it was a job, paid the bills, it put food on the table, it kept the roof over my head.
Yeah, and basically that's it. And I think that's why people were upset that we weren't told it was Friday the 13th initially, because we're like, man, you guys are making some serious cash off of this, and you're paying us. Right. And it was little, which is still, the Screen Actors Guild. It's not chump change that you're making, but still just to pay us like the minimum that you can. It's like, really, come on, guys.
I know.
Everybody benefited from it, so I can't really complain.
That's true. So let's see. How was Danny Steinman as a director?
He was great. Again, I have nothing negative to say about him. I don't remember a whole lot because it was a long time ago. Right. But associations with him is that he was pretty laid back. There, no like crazy temper things, which I've heard like a lot of directors do. I've actually worked with a couple. But he's laid back and he let us do what we wanted to do, and he didn't. There wasn't a whole lot of conflict. That's good. So,
I know Deborah Voorhees said that when I interviewed her. It was something along the lines of he cared about the actors, especially the female actors, because like she said, when you're a teenage girl, it's like you want to look nice. You're on TV. You're gonna be on film. You want to you're like got that sense of insecurity in a way. So she said that he was very he the little things like letting her pick out her own wardrobe and
Yeah.
stuff like that meant a whole lot as for him being a director and allowing that leeway, or even helping with the scenes where she can do a lot of improv and like a lot of having fun with her scenes and having a lot of freedom. That little stuff like that help out on the job. It might not seem much to somebody say like me because I'm not an actor, but when you're an actor and it's a job and you want to be treated the best way you can so you can do a good job at that job.
Yeah. And you want to be comfortable in your scene, so it's like it helps. Like
Exactly.
if you're wearing clothes that you like, or in her case, not wearing clothes.
That is very true.
Whatever. It's like just being able to be comfortable in your environment, is really, really important.
Exactly.
So, yeah, absolutely. He was really supportive. I'll say that.
Right. So your mom, as everyone knows, is the famous Brooke Bundy who was in A Nightmare on Elm Street. What was her reaction to you starring in a Friday the 13th film? And did she give you any pointers or tips or advice for preparing for the role or for the film itself?
I think, now you are the horror buff, so correct me if I'm wrong. I think my Friday preceded her Nightmare, didn't it?
You were in 1985. It was actually around the same time. She did too. 1985 was part 5 of Friday the 13th. I know the first A Nightmare on Elm Street was 1984.
Yeah, but my mom was in...
So you were before her, yes.
Yeah, so I told her a thing or two. No,
good catch right there.
Again, it's, it was just work. And
right.
At the time, I mean, we all have that time in our lives where we're not as close to our parents.
Of course,
right?
yep.
Like right now, like I absolutely adore my mom, and I don't talk to her enough, but I adore her. And it was one of those weird times in my life where we weren't super close. I wasn't living there, and I've shared this before where there was a time when I was really irritated by her, and that the scene with her head, clean up your room.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, that's her. Like I was just.
That's great though. It is pretty funny.
That scene just epitomized how I kind of felt about it was the whole mother-daughter thing.
Yeah.
But again, that was then. This is now.
Right.
Like, for the most part, we've gotten along really, really well all of our lives. But yeah, there was no pointer. She has, because she also works as an acting coach.
Right.
She has helped me like with auditions and stuff, and given me lots of really good information.
Right.
And I still absolutely trust her direction.
Right. So to stop a little bit with the interview, I have a personal question to ask about your mom. Do you think she would be able to do an interview with me for my book, for the Nightmare on Elm Street section?
She might. I can contact her.
Yeah, and I can give you my email, or if she has a Facebook.
Message you on Facebook.
Exactly. That's what I said after the interview. I can give you my email, or if she has a Facebook, or if you want to tell me itself how to get in touch with her. Either way.
I will contact her and ask.
Okay.
She's like, she doesn't do like the social media stuff. She kind of likes her privacy, so I have set up for her other things. But yeah, remind me at the end of the interview and I'll write it down. And next time I talk to her, I will ask.
Thank you very much. That'll be awesome.
Certainly.
All right, so 3 more questions we have. So, was it terrifying or scary when doing the scene with Tom Morga when he was Jason? And explain the experience on what it was like when filming the scene where Violet is about to meet her quote-unquote end.
Tom is super cool, and I got to work with him just last summer at HorrorCon, so in Chicago. So he's just super, super cool.
Right.
And as far as like terrifying, no. I mean, and I share this. I don't know if you know it or not, but he used to like to spook us. There were these where we were shooting was a little farmhouse in Orange Grove, and walking through the orange groves, he would sometimes like hide out behind the trees and stuff, and then jump out and scare us. It was, it is kind of creepy, and you do like away from the lights, away from the movie. But if you're like out there and it's country,
Yeah.
you know, so it's a little creepy there in the dark walking around.
Right.
So, but I mean, it was all in good fun.
That's
you
great.
know, doing little jump scares and stuff. But he's super cool to work with. Just a nice guy.
So, like, what was the experience like when Violet was about to meet her hand? Was like, were you like laughing, like blooper type laughing, like, oh, this is Tom Morgan, he's a super nice guy, and he's trying to be this like really scary killer type of thing.
No, I mean, I don't think so. I mean, there might have been something, but it's no, we were pretty professional on
That's
the set, and you know, I mean, he didn't. I also worked with actors who like to try to break you.
Right.
Like I worked with Johnny Depp, in fact, like to do that.
They like try to make you laugh and break character.
Yeah, but Tom, I think it was because as I recall, and I may be wrong about this, but again, with the change of the scene, like it was a late night, and I think we all just kind of wanted to get through it.
Right.
So it's like let's do this, let's get through it, let's
Right.
try and not milk it.
Right.
So, and I mean because of all the deaths and like and as theatrical as so many of the Friday deaths are,
Right.
mine was pretty tame.
It was actually, and like I seen behind the scenes pictures of like the blood in the vaginal area because you were supposed to get that original death scene, but of course that was cut because the MPAA would have definitely given that an X rating, and that wouldn't have been passed.
So it was, I mean, because of and like because they had the prosthetic head, you know,
Right.
for so all the death scenes were pretty well thought out, and it's like how much gore, how much special effects,
Right.
and mine was put together last minute. So basically, all they did was, you know, then we're gonna do it. It's gonna be minimal of blood, and then we're gonna get this pillow and stick the knife in it and insert it later to look like, you know, he gutted you.
Right.
And that's basically what they did. I mean, it's pretty low tech.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe I got a little ripped off on the death scene, but.
Right, but you had a kick-ass character, so that definitely makes up for it.
Yeah, sure.
Here is more of a like a personal type of question. So I know you're passionate about being a vegan. So even though the interview, of course, is about Friday the 13th, I want to give you an opportunity to explain to the world why veganism is important to you, so you can inspire the readers about why this is a really healthy and good lifestyle.
Okay. Well, for me, there's several parts to it. I mean, I do it for the animals. I came to a point in my life, and I'm not vegan because I don't like meat and cheese and all that. Well, now I don't miss it at all. But like I used to eat lots of meat, lots of cheese, lots of ice cream. Well, I still eat lots of ice cream, but it's all vegan. And I came to a point in my life where inside I was conflicted, because I've always considered myself an animal lover, but I'm feeding my body with products that came from them, and they're not treated well in order to get these products. You know, when you're talking about meat or milk or cheese or honey or leather or whatever you're taking from them. So it was an inner conflict. So it was a decision that I made because I really had to. Like, because I'm screaming, save the wolves and save the whales and, you know, adopt, don't shop, and all of those things, saying that I'm really an animal lover, but I'm eating ice cream, and I couldn't do it anymore.
Makes sense.
So I made the decision, and it was hard. It took me a few times really to get it, because the cognitive dissonance that we have, like you see these pictures and you're like, oh, that's really, really awful. But really to understand that is what you're putting in your body.
Yeah.
And like if you want peace, and not that all vegans are peaceful, we know there's lots of angry vegans, and I can be that one too. But if we keep putting violence into our bodies, how can we expect our society to be anything but violence?
That's true.
Like you can't do it. So people are, I mean, you even see like these fundraisers for like animal shelters and stuff, and they'll be serving roast pork sandwiches, and it's like, what?
Yeah, it's like a contradiction of themselves.
It is.
Yeah.
It's not even that I love all animals, because there's some animals that scare me or that I don't like. Not a big fan of mosquitoes.
Snakes, rats.
Snakes. Like yappy dogs. I'm not a big fan of them.
Right.
But what I do have is a respect for all of them. I feel that every single being is entitled to living peacefully on Earth.
Right.
So when a non-vegan says, well, you vegans think you're better than everybody else, I'm like, no, we think we're actually the same as everybody else, that everybody deserves the same respect. I don't think human beings are more important than dogs or sheep or pigs or goats or chickens. I think we all have a right to be here.
Yeah.
If it comes down to people like, well, you think a dog's life is more important than a human life, I'm like, well, that has to do with familiarity. Like, if it's my son, over a dog's life, yeah. I said, but if it's like some random stranger that I don't know, and my dog, that's another question.
Of course.
So it's people, I think, confuse familiarity with the value of a life.
Yeah.
Because our lives should all be equally valued, right?
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree.
I think. I don't think human beings have any superiority. So that's my spiel about veganism. If somebody's interested in it, they can message me and we'll talk more. Otherwise, I don't really offer up my opinion unless, of course, I'm on Facebook.
Right, and I mean, that's why I asked it, because I mean, I'm going to have select readers that might not know or even think about it. Like, I'll be honest, I eat meat, but I never thought of what you said like that. I never thought of it being like the animals go through that. I just think of it as food, you know what I mean? I never really put 2 cents into it. And there might be people out there that will buy my book that read that and think, wow, that is actually a good point that she made. I'm going to look more into this. Like, it's one of the...
It's a bit, and I tell people, like, if they want to argue with me, I'm like, just do your research. Like, it's all out there. You can find it the same way I found it, because the more that I looked and I researched and I read, I'm like, okay, I can't continue doing what I'm doing.
Right.
And that's all. And but I don't really argue for it. I can't. It's just. I don't waste my time.
And I'm slowly going down that path, it seems like, to begin with. I mean, yeah, I still eat meat and everything, but I have, it's really hard to stop just eating meat, especially cold turkey. You know that because cold turkey, I just caught that. But it's one of those things that's hard, but I actually I'd seen some on Facebook about what hot dogs and how they're actually made, and I haven't eaten a hot dog probably for about 4 years now. My dad said when I said I'm not eating a hot dog ever again at our one Memorial Day picnic, he's like, Scotty, you're saying that now, but I guarantee you in about a month you're going to have a hot dog again. And guess what? I haven't had one in 4 years. Because it's made me sick to my stomach. And it's hard to fathom, to think of me not even eating meat. It's like, it's one of those things that it's really hard to think about. But I mean, I want to do the research. I want to look into it more because I want to eat healthier. I want to be healthy. I want to save the animal. I love animals. I can't picture. I mean, I don't own a cow as a pet, but the thing is, like, if you think a cow is still an animal, and I can put my dog in that situation or my cat's in that situation. If they got the same exact thing, the treatment that cow got, I would be pissed. I would be furious. I would be upset. I would be so heartbroken over that. So
do me a favor then.
Okay.
And I know you can stomach blood and gore,
obviously. Yes, obviously.
Watch Earthlings.
Is that on Netflix?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Okay.
Earthlings.
Okay.
So you watch that. I won't watch even the trailer for it.
Okay.
It's extremely graphic.
Okay. Is it about what animals are going through?
It's deep and dark. See if you can do it. If it's too much, if the graphics are too much for you, a lot of people it is.
Yeah.
Cowspiracy is another one.
Okay. The thing is though, like I'm very I can, and this might be really awful to say the way this is gonna come out, but I can tolerate seeing people get killed. I guess because of the horror movies. But like even in Halloween, the original, when the dog gets strangled, I have to turn my head. I can't see anything happen to an animal like that. I guess even like people on my friends list post pictures of animals and them like being attacked by their owners and everything, and I'm like, I can't. I have to like literally hide that thing because I can't tolerate looking at it.
And you may not be able to do Earthlings. I guess that's very graphic, but Cowspiracy is not as graphic. Okay. And there's another one, and I don't know if you've seen it come up on Facebook, but there's something. What the heck is it called? It's something about health. There's something that's free on Netflix right now. That, and I'll because it keeps coming up on my feed. I'll send it. Yeah,
send it to me because I would definitely like to look into that. I mean, I can't stand the sight of seeing animals get killed, and I don't see what they go through. It's like cows and pigs. I don't see what they go through, but I know it happens, and I'm afraid to, I guess, to research because I'm afraid to see that, feel that hurt and that pain for them. And you know what I mean? It's not even more so of stopping to eat meat. It's more so the fact of seeing the animals put through that torture. I can. Yeah, but I think of my own dog. If that were to happen to my dog or to my cats, like the fact that would have happened, that would kill me inside.
Yeah, well, if you feel that way, then that's like the first step. I mean, there's some people who are like, I don't care. Animals are put here for our consuming, for our pleasure, blah blah blah. But if you already have that idea, because that's one of the biggest things is speciesism, where people think that certain animals are more valued than others. Like you have a lot of people that are very upset about the dog eating the dog festival in Yulin. Right. But they're eating hamburgers and ribs and like because it's a dog, for God's sake. You can't do that to a dog. Right. Like, they're showing, like pigs are smarter than 2-year-olds. Right, and like some people. Right, and some things I can't even eat. Like for example, I can't eat anything with deer in it. Because I can't with deer in it, like deer jerky or deer sausage, deer meat. Like I can't eat that because I know it's coming from a deer. But for some reason, like I don't like it might sound what's the word I'm looking for? Whatever it is. I can't think of the word off the top of my head. It's hypocrisy or something like that. I think it's hypocrisy. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe because I grew up on cows, but then I know that's why I can't go hunting because I can't shoot a deer or shoot like anything. I can't hunt because I don't like to kill an animal. But then there's these animals that still get killed, and it kind of like, I guess it's hypocrisy. But I mean, I don't know because I don't see that. But I know when you go hunting, you shoot a deer. You know what I mean? So that's why I can't eat that for sure. And then the hot dog thing, I've seen what that's made of. I haven't eaten one in like 4 years. So maybe if I see that about a cow, I won't be able to have a burger, and the pig, I won't be able to have bacon. Maybe that's my way to get to that point. Well, I'll share with you a funny little aside with the whole hot dog thing.
Okay.
I don't know, and my teenager is right there, so I'll try and say this the best way. But there's a video going around. I don't know if you've seen it with the waitress and the hot dog.
I might have. It sounds familiar.
Okay, where she inserts the hot dog.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And then puts it back down and puts ketchup on it and serves it. People are freaking out about this.
I remember that. Yeah, I've seen it.
The first time I saw this video, I'm like, and looking at everybody like, oh my God. I'm like, so this is a product made of like pig anus, testicles, eyeballs, whatever else they can scrape off the slaughterhouse floor, and you're concerned because it's got a little extra juice on it now?
I actually found that funny because that's why I stopped eating hot dogs. I forget the meme, and I can't even send it to you. It shows a picture of a really good-looking hot dog, and then it says, "Do you like eating a hot dog? You won't after you read this." And then it says what it's all the ingredients that it comes from, from the animal, like the body parts. I'm like, that is gross. Yep.
Not even one animal.
Right.
It's like all these. Yeah, it's really, and it's. I mean, I had our son plays hockey, and they're always having the barbecues and stuff like that. He's quite slim, and parents telling me you need to eat more hot dogs. I'm like, are you kidding me? All the things you want to tell him to eat. I mean, say steak or something, but a hot dog.
Now, is your son, is he a vegan too?
No, he's vegetarian.
He's vegetarian.
Yeah, the family's vegetarian.
Okay.
The teenager, I don't know, are you still vegan now? Nah, you've been like eating some dairy. Avalon's kind of like mostly vegan.
Okay.
So I'm the only like strict vegan in the family.
Right. Well, it's a good thing, a good trait to have, and hopefully that the story we just talked about that I'll put in my book and everything, hopefully that'll inspire some people as well. It inspired me for sure, because like talking to you, it gave me more insight from just doing the research and learning about it. You gave me some things that I can now look up and everything. Give me a sec.
Cool. Well, I will send you some information.
Definitely,
to,
definitely.
You know, choose what you wanna look at, because I mean, like I said, Earthlings is super graphic.
Right.
It's included a lot of people.
Wow.
But like Cowspiracy and this whatever this new thing is on Netflix, like
Right.
are a little less graphic.
Okay.
Because people have their own different ways of getting the information. I don't
Right.
post a whole lot of graphic videos on my page because I find for the most part it doesn't do any, like it doesn't.
Right. Doesn't inspire them. It drives them away because they're seeing it and they don't know, they don't have. Right, they don't have the knowledge of what that's about. They don't know what they're just seeing. Oh, she's posting this disgusting thing about animals. But when they do their own research and watch it themselves, they can understand it more. And that's where like interviews like this, talking about it and posting about it, and like even like talking to people privately about it, it can do a much better job than just sharing a video about it, like with an animal being killed or something.
Exactly.
Great. So on to the last question. Do you have any future projects in store? And if so, can you share us what you're able to talk about?
Projects.
As in acting, like any future films, television series, books, anything that you're working on that you might want to promote.
Well, I am a photographer. That's what I got into when we were in Seattle because there was really not much work there. So I've been a professional photographer for several years. But what was it, a year and a half ago, I decided to seek representation here.
Okay.
Because I'm a dual citizen, so I figured, when American film crews come to Canada, they have to hire a certain number of Canadian actors, right? So with dual citizenship, I can hopefully cash in on some jobs.
Right.
Unfortunately, there is not a whole lot of work where I'm at.
Where are you at again?
I'm in Alberta.
Okay.
But I did get an agent a while ago, and I'm hoping to get my feet wet again.
Right.
There's not that many auditions. Like I went out for an audition last night.
Nice.
Which was really cool. So I don't know. I'm not looking to like make it really big. I'm just hoping maybe that'd be nice to get a few acting gigs while I'm out here.
Right.
So we're seeing if but I don't have anything lined up per se.
Right.
Like just being a mom, taking care of the kids, and
right.
Right.
And on a side note, I just got a private message actually from one of, I don't know if I don't think he had any scenes. Yeah, he didn't have any scenes with them, but he was in Part 5. Miguel A. Nunez Jr. He played Demon.
Yeah.
Yep. He just messaged me. He just messaged me and said I'll be happy to do the interview. So that's actually pretty cool.
Sweet.
I wanted him on my Facebook, but he's maxed out, so I can't add him. So I sent him a message, and he messaged me back a few days ago saying he'll check his schedule and he'll get back to me. And he just got back to me just now. So that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
That's actually good news. Yep, definitely. I can't wait for that. But I have to say, congratulations on that. You just gave me my best interview so far, and you gave me a hard-ass time to put together a 5 to 6 minute promo clip to hype up my book. So you really put me to work tonight. I really, really, really had a great time talking to you, though.
Great meeting you.
It was great meeting you too. And I definitely want to keep in touch. Send me some of the vegan stuff, and if you can talk to your mom, Brooke, that would be absolutely phenomenal. Okay.
I'm turning away from you for a moment, so I write it down.
Sounds great. I'll stop the recording a while.